All right, Alexis, you got me on this one. I guess dance is a sport.
I thought you'd feel that way after checking out complexions. Well, now we're going to head down to Bristol, Connecticut, where our own Alex Reimer conducted his final interview on his campus tour of ESPN. He sat down with anchor Bram Weinstein.
So, Bram Weinstein, you have been at ESPN since 2008. I want to ask you, Bram, obviously SportsCenter is a news show. It's a journalist show first, but it's also an entertainment show. So do you consider yourself an entertainer, a journalist? Can you be both? How do you tiptoe that line?
I think you can be both. I think you should be both. And I think the ones who have been most successful at this have been both. I mean, I think people would call Chris Berman an entertainer. I think people would call Stuart Scott an entertainer, and Scott Van Pelt, and all the people who have been extremely successful through the years doing this. But the reality is, people are watching for the news first, for the highlights, for the content, and for the sports. And there's a fine line there, and I think we all understand that.
Yeah, guys, you remember the boast? Not 5, not 6, not 7.
Well, at this point, SportsCenter is an iconic television program that people watched long before I got here and will watch long after I leave. But just to be part of it, you know, I think there is a way to go about it so that you can do both.
ESPN is obviously in business with every major professional sport league, excluding the NHL. So you air leagues games. So what's good for the leagues, you would think, is also good for the network. But also, you mentioned ESPN is a news agency, but sometimes the news is not great for the league's public image. Do those two hats ever contradict each other?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, sure. I mean, there is an inherent conflict in that, but that's with anything. I mean, that's with any network. I mean, it's not exclusive to ESPN. We're driving viewership here. You know, the news is the news. Are we going out of our way to make negative news about the leagues we're in partnership with? No, but we're not avoiding anything either. And I think, you know, there is that journalistic integrity that is still alive.
Some would say, though, that other websites like Deadspin were more on top of Tiger Woods and Ben Roethlisberger, and ESPN was kind of late to the party and breaking a lot of the harder news there.
Maybe, and I wouldn't totally disagree with that. You know, and maybe they were looking for that type of news, and maybe they were the ones actively seeking out the particular names of the people involved, whereas in a similar situation at a larger news organization, we may not go after those minor details.
You're really only supposed to be allowed really one of those per game.
A lot of people talk about how the ESPN SportsCenter top 10 plays, and about how now the NBA is more about the slam dunk than the extra pass. And a lot of people don't necessarily blame ESPN for that, but say, you know, the advent of these highlight shows where everyone's trying to get on the 30-second highlight reel has made sports in the NBA, I think, sticks out the most as more entertainment, less team-oriented, more eye, less team, all that. Do you think that ESPN has helped propel that, or do you think that's just part of the natural evolution of sport?
It's probably just natural evolution more than anything. I mean, I think dunks were happening before people were watching SportsCenter in droves, and great play. I mean, you know, was Wilt Chamberlain an eye guy when he was playing, even though there was no ESPN at the time? You know, I mean, so listen, stars stand out. Stars do things. Do some of them do certain things to get themselves on SportsCenter? Sure, and I think even some of them admit that. And those are the ones that typically get chided. Again, you know, there isn't this, we're trying to make people do things a certain way so they can get on television. The story becomes the story, and some guys have particular skills that make them stand out for us.
Bram Weinstein, thanks for stopping by.